Boating is one of the most popular forms of marine recreation in Florida, and we see huge amounts of it in the Biscayne Bay and Florida Keys areas. Many of us living here enjoy our summers or any days that we get off taking our boats out for a run and spending the day on the water, taking advantage of all the activities that the ocean has to offer. Unfortunately, our activities when done improperly harms multiple organisms that live under the surface. Today, we will be focusing on seagrass and how improper boating operation and procedure can damage it, how we can prevent this damage, and what happens if we don't. Boating can damage the seagrass beds when the operator of the boat travels into water that is too shallow for the motors to spin the propellers freely. The propellers then dig into the ground, essentially tearing into the grass and leaving nothing but the sand underneath. This mostly commonly occurs around the sandbars where people anchor their boats while they relax on the flap. The error comes in when the operator of the boat leaves the bar and either misjudges or neglects the change in depth when leaving the area. For example, when leaving the sandbar by Sands Cut in Biscayne Bay, there are multiple shoals that are in your way when returning to the direction of the channel. The changing depths are the causes for error with many people, and you can see countless scar marks on the seafloor from failure to navigate around the shoals and failure to trim the motors up to a sufficient height. Keeping all of this in mind, this problem has an easy solution that requires just a little amount of attention and boating knowledge. Preventing this damage comes down to using your GPS and depth finder to see what depth of water your boat is in and what depth is ahead of it. This also requires you to know your boat's draft or the measurement from the water's surface to the deepest part of the boat. Keeping this as reference will help keep boaters from traveling in water that is too shallow and dramatically reduce the chances of dredging the ground with the propellers. After all of this information, there are likely some of you asking one simple question: why? First, we have to look at what seagrass does for the ocean itself. Seagrass houses multiple organisms ranging from crabs, snails, small fish, and many more. It also is a food source for at-risk animals like sea turtles and manatees. Perhaps the most important function of seagrass is providing a root system on the seafloor that otherwise does not have any support. This is extremely important in fighting against erosion, which is a big issue pressing the state of Florida. With seagrass doing all of this and more, it is clear that we need to protect it and prevent further damage to it.
My name's Ray Rocher. I'm a charter boat captain in Miami. We have 3 boats at Coconut Grove and spent my life here in Miami fishing and enjoying the outdoors. I'm a licensed lobster diver. So I'm allowed to dive for commercial quantities of lobster every year starting on August 6th, and I think that's about it.
And I'm Dakota, I'm his son. I've been working on his charter boats for about 3 years now, and currently I'm working under him basically, just trying to learn as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. So in general, how would you guys describe your experience with seagrass and just how it changed over the time that you guys been on the water?
So seagrass, or the common grass that we have here, is a turtle grass. It's a wide blade grass that populates. I mean, there's a bunch of different types of grasses, but that's the grass that's the most common and most, I guess, well known. And that grass is very important to the life cycle of most marine organisms. You know, you have everything from shrimp to small fish, mollusks. Everything lives in that turtle grass as in its early stages of life, and that provides protection and in many cases food for a lot of this life that starts out in these nurseries or these estuaries, bays. That's kind of where I think it's where the building blocks of life begin, really. And then from there, they mature and able to, inhabit other areas of the reef or open water.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to add as well is for people that are in shallower waters. Driving over flats is a terrible idea, especially when there's grassy flats. Obviously, you don't want to be too deep in those areas unless you're using a push pull or some other method where you're essentially not running your motor through that area.
Yeah,
because those are,
damaging it.
I mean, in a lot of areas those are protected, especially down in the Keys. They have a lot of areas that are either no motor zones or areas just basically that are that at times get too shallow to even be able to run through. So obviously you need to be careful in those areas.
Thank you for watching our documentary. I hope that this information will have a lasting impact on the way that we enjoy our oceans while being responsible for its health. We have the ability to save seagrass and many other components of our natural world. All it takes is learning and action.